9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
What up, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. You are seeing correctly. I am back in the seat again. It's been a minute just doing crazy things, but we're here on the road to Mania. Our super chats are open. So for $1 more, you can ask me where I've been, and I might answer. Also, let us know where you're hailing from, what city, what state, all that good stuff. Hey, Eric, how are you doing? Now, the PR princess herself is in the building. Of course, it's AEW night. Courtney Rice, the PR princess, is here to join us. How are you doing, Courtney?
Well, I'm doing good. You know, I couldn't miss up on a Wednesday. It's Timeless Elite Wednesdays for all the elitists out there because it is Dynasty this weekend. But of course, you mentioned WrestleMania next week, Vegas. A lot is happening. April is just a busy, busy month for wrestling fans.
Yeah. I think this whole year has been a busy month. For you guys who have been keeping track of our show, we finally finished the Mr. McMahon documentary, the last 2 episodes, which is kind of crazy because you watch it. If you watch it now and then you see everything that's transpired, it's just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then you realize it's almost Mania and we're in April and this year has gone by so quickly, which is kind of crazy. April and May are busy for content creators. I mean,
all year round. Wait till summer.
It's just like it's insane. And that's just on the wrestling side. But we are not alone. Hope Pretty in Pink is in the building as well. How are you doing, Hope?
Hello. I'm still in Easter mode. So hi, everybody. Hopefully everyone had a great Easter Resurrection Sunday and happy Dynamite Wednesday. So true. Welcome back to our fearless leader. Always good to see the PR princess. And wow, so much to cover. Wow.
Much to cover. Wow. It's kind of funny. I might want to leave this one to the end because it's so, like I said, apropos. We watched Mr. McMahon. So if you guys want to see our reviews and the watch along, it's up on our show. We watched Mr. McMahon, but then we have, the text messages that have now broken on social media from 2023. So I feel like we should say that to the end because I actually watched. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look for it. I saw it on the net on YouTube where this guy broke down everything between TKO, and then we can also talk about Pat McAfee. There's just a lot of things that are happening that are just kind of like, hey, I don't know. So for Dylan, just in case he can start with something fresh first. Let's go into that AEW Dynamite preview real quick.
Yeah, we're going into AEW Dynamite because, this is the final Dynamite before we get into Dynasty this weekend in Canada. At the top of the hour, yours truly will be on the call. Oh my. If you saw last week during April Fool's Day, it wasn't a joke. Chris Jericho made a shocking return, and he's going to yes, shocker on April Fool's Day of all days, but it's very true. He will be addressing AEW Dynamite from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Not sure what he's going to say. Very curious on what he's going to do and what's going to be next for the man of pretty much almost everything that he does. We're also going to have Kenny Omega.
So one thing, I didn't mean to derail you, but I will. So do we know if it was the money or was it more like contracts? They said the right number. I'm going to stay for another 2 years. Like, do we know what it was?
We don't know, but I think it might have to do with money in his contract.
Yeah,
it probably has to do towards contract.
I thought I heard $7 million.
So, yeah,
that
it was mostly the contract. So,
all right, there it is.
He's getting paid. So, hey, credit to him. But going back, we're going to hear from Kenny Omega right before his big match against MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight title. Very curious on what's he going to say this week, especially with the fact he cannot put his hands on MJF right before their big match. So very curious on what Mr. Kenny Omega has to say before the big dance this weekend. And we're also going to have Willow Nightingale, where she's going to continue her TBS Open Challenge, and she will be defending it against the returning Queen Aminata. We haven't seen Queen Aminata in quite some time due to an injury, but she is 100% healthy. She's back in the ring, and can't wait to see these two ladies go at it for the TBS title. And also, we do have a trios match. If you notice, it was supposed to be Brody King inserted in that trios, but per Tony Khan, he got pulled away due to personal reasons. So his tag team partner and friend Bandino stepped up to the plate. He will be teaming up with Darby Allin and AEW National Champion Jack Perry to take on the Don Callis families, Mark Davis, Andrade, and Konosuke Takeshita. Who knows what fireworks are going to happen? And I'm sure Don Callis is somewhere probably lurking at ringside. But all this and more is happening tonight on AEW Dynamite, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS and simulcast on HBO Max. And is there a match or a segment in particular that you guys are both looking forward to see the AEW Dynamite?
I just want to
everything Willow.
Go ahead, TK, please.
I think everything Willow, everything. Although I don't know, because I feel like Queen Aminata. Here, my dog, she has to say Willow too. I feel like Queen Aminata has been putting in the work, and she just came back, and she definitely deserves a chance eventually. But I think this is Willow's time right now.
Yeah, that is actually the match that I'm looking forward to as well. It'll likely be Willow, but it'll be so great to see Queen Aminata back. And yeah, ready to rock out to Judas again. When I heard that music hit last week at the opening, PR Princess and I were just talking about that. I was like, oh my gosh, I started to text you. I was like, he's back. It wasn't in April. He's back.
Yes, no.
The swerve, though, man. He was off for how long? How many months was he out for?
April of last year.
Yeah.
I believe he was in it was either Norfolk or Baltimore. The only reason I remember is because I was at both shows and I had no idea that would literally be the last time we actually would see him on AEW programming. But it was literally March or April of last year.
Yes.
I wonder what happened with that, because I do definitely believe there had to be some discussion with WWE or AEW. I mean, I think. So I wonder what happened where he's like, nah, I'm gonna, because remember there's also the thing with his Jericho Cruise where he took off all the AEW talent and it was just like more like WWE people and indie people. So it's just kind of like some shenanigans were afoot.
Well, without question, negotiations took place with WWE, but it's a numbers game. And one thing about Tony Khan, he has the money. And from what I understand, I don't have official confirmation, but word is the magic number was 7 million. 10% of that would have worked for me, but hey, I'm not Jericho. It would have been cool to see him back in WWE, but I gotta say, hearing Judas and back in Canada, it was just so appropriate.
It was nice to see Chris Jericho last week. I did post a reaction video last week, and he actually did like my post on social, which was really cool. And I was very happy. I'm very curious what's going to do next. I'm happy to see Queen Aminata back. It's been a while since she was injured, because I know she was feuding with the Triangle of Madness. Very curious on what her role is going to be, but I just want to see Willow really take on the TBS title, and really curious on who's going to step up to the plate. Also, with the fact to the trios match, I'm looking forward to, because first off, congratulations to Bandino, because now it's 365 days since he's been Ring of Honor World Champion. So congratulations to him. But also, it's going to help with Darby Allin and Andrade this weekend at AEW Dynasty. Obviously, of course, he's feuding with the Don Callis family, but also Darby Allin has some lick wounds he's got to heal, because if you remember the early part of AEW, he feuded with Brody King. He set Jack Perry on fire. So he has to make amends right before he has to get AEW gold. So I'm very curious on where this is going to lead to right before his match against Andrade. But yeah, Dynasty is shaping up to be a really good solid card. Very curious what other things are going to happen tonight on Dynamite.
Should be a good card.
Speaking of like storytelling and etc., the story of MJF, it's not funny. I mean, thankfully nothing happened, but the man who tried to abduct him backstage, I mean, so many questions, and thankfully, nothing came out of it. But you want to tell us about that story, Courtney?
Woo, there was a lot to this story. So kind of going back, he kind of said this on the Adam Freeland show. He was on a podcast recently, and he pretty much told this story where a man approached him backstage claiming to be a pilot who would be flying him home to Long Island after the show. And at that time, his father actually suffered a heart attack, and he assumed Mr. Bossman Tony Khan arranged the flight. So he goes on to say, a pilot walks up to me and he goes, Mr. Friedman, I'm going to be flying you out back home after the show's proceeding, to which, to be fair, I've flown on a jet with my boss up to that point anyway, not to the island. Well, to the island, as in Long Island, the only island that matters. So pretty much he goes on thinking that it was Tony Khan, but it really wasn't Tony Khan that paid for that flight. So pretty much he goes in to see. So I find my boss after this pilot says this to me, and I knock on his door and he opens the door and he goes, Max. And I go, yeah, it's me. I want you to know how much this means to me. The fact that you're trying to fly me back to my dad as soon as possible after you had the heart attack, because he did know my boss, Tony Khan. And he goes, what the F are you talking about? And I go, the pilot just told me. And he goes, I didn't effing book you a jet to go back home tonight. And pretty much he returned with some backup with QT Marshall to confront the man. And when QT Marshall asked to see his pilot license, the man claimed he left it home. So pretty much he goes back in to say, so now I go back over when one of my bosses, one of the EVPs of the company, QT Marshall, and QT goes, so who did you say hired you again? And he goes, Tony Khan. And then he goes to say, Tony Khan's my boss. He kind of goes back and forth a little bit, trying to be funny about it. But pretty much QT and MJF kind of kicked him out there. And even security questioned the man's intentions. But it was pretty bizarre looking at this scary story. And it's very scary with the fact, because Hope and I have been talking about this last couple of weeks, because we have seen this develop with Stephanie Pacure, Alicia Taylor, recently Tessa Blanchard last week. So it's just been an ongoing thing that we have seen the last couple month and a half.
Rhea sent out a text about not sending packages or messages to her home address. Amanada, before her injury, it's not okay to send flowers to her hotel room. My jaw just dropped at some of the things. I get it. Show your appreciation, and they're appreciative. But at the end of the day, there is a fine line. You gotta just be mindful. But that story, when I came across it, I was like, oh, this is a belated April Fool's. No one actually tried to do this. But, whew, wow. Just glad he's okay. Glad that QT Marshall was there, and that things worked themselves out, because things could have gotten twisted in the worst possible way there. Whew.
Yeah, and there's actually no fine line. At the end of the day, the best thing to do for somebody if you really like them is buy their merch. That's how you can show you support. That's how you show love. Like, I mean, I understand how you would think like the flowers would be thing, but also in a practical way, as a woman or a man, do what you do. Sending flowers to somebody who is not even from that state. They now have to carry these flowers. What are they doing with the vows? They can't carry it on the plane. Like, what are we doing, folks? Like, it doesn't track. So buy their merch and then take a picture of you wearing their merch and tag them. Like, that's the biggest thing that you can do for somebody, because that in itself helps them to get paid more. And if you want to see them more on TV, then that's kind of how you do it. Merch sales is very, very, very important. So just, stop being weird.
And don't harass them on socials. Just don't do it.
Yes.
Don't harass them on their DMs. Don't harass them on FaceTime. They do not need that, especially with the fact, too. I mean, they have enough issues to deal with, but please, just as Alicia Taylor said it, just be respectful and just keep moving and support me in any way you can.
And keep in mind,
I mean,
go ahead, TK. No, go ahead.
I think you put that in the chat yesterday with Jada, not Jade, Jade Cargill and the harassing text messages that she was getting. I don't understand. And we've talked about this before. It just whether you hate or love the wrestler, at the end of the day, this is still entertainment. And like I don't understand. I don't understand why the passion, like my dog's talking to another dog, to be really excited about the sport and to watch it and to be faithful. That's great, because without us watching, then there's no jobs, and this is more jobs beyond wrestling. It's the people who are holding the cameras, etc. But to harass somebody because of wrestling is just weird to me. You could literally not watch her if you don't want to.
It's true. And the thing, we were talking about this last week, people say we have long memories. Oh, try a professional wrestler. They don't forget those who harass them or those who they feel like did them wrong on social or in person. They can remember things 10 years ago, literally haven't a clue, but their memory is insane. And it's a level of entitlement, which I think we all get the excitement and you want to be able to get that pick and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, times have changed. It's not like when I first became a fan and it was nothing to see these guys walking downtown in downtown Richmond, literally 6th Street Marketplace. You could see Cactus Jack or Kevin Nash, and that was different. There was no social at the time, but now we're in a place where you have to remember they're people, and just remember it's okay to make the ask, but don't interrupt them at dinner. Don't approach them while they're at the airport unless you legit happen to be at the airport. Please don't make a special trip to the airport. And following them around, just like, we, again, just too many examples. Just be mindful, be respectful. And as our fearless leader shared earlier, you want to support them, buy their merch. That's what I did with Damien. I go to the auction site and get some of those items because I want them to know I proudly support Damian Priest. Absolutely. And it's a great way to do it. And yeah, I'm sure Lola's happy too. So,
and if you're going to Vegas next week, make sure to support all the independent shows as well.
Good point.
Just saying, just support them. Just say hello and just keep walking. You're on mute, TK.
Hear you.
Oh, there it goes. My dog was barking, that's why. But I believe she will be in Vegas. But 12 years ago today, Paige made her debut on WWE Raw and beat AJ Lee for the Divas Championship, which is like so crazy to think about. Again, if you watched, or I would actually suggest rewatching the last 2 episodes of the Mr. McMahon doc. And the reason being is they talked about the relationship with Shane McMahon, how he left and he came back. And I think the last time we saw him was in WrestleMania in Los Angeles, where he like tore something. We haven't seen him again. And he talks about the relationship. And I was thinking, like, where would the women's division be if Vince actually stepped down? Because that was one of the reasons allegedly Shane left. Like, Shane had ideas, Vince wasn't really feeling those ideas, and Vince is like, you could take this company like how I took the company from my dad. Like, it can't be 2 cooks in the kitchen type thing. And I kind of have a feeling that the women's division would have advanced quicker if Vince weren't around when it was kind of, making some steam. But to see this and to see, AJ back and where Paige is, and I definitely think she is going to make a run back, maybe now or maybe for Royal Rumble next year. We're going to see her in WWE again. It's just, it's crazy to think about that because everything is like so quick. Like, even the whole Vince McMahon scandal, it feels like it happened yesterday, but it also feels like it happened like 10 years ago. It's just the pandemic coming out. The pandemic is just a very weird time warp. But anywho, memories on Paige and AJ and this crazy, really great match.
I remember that match when it was yesterday. It was the night after WrestleMania, AJ Lee retained. It was New Orleans, I believe. It was WrestleMania New Orleans where she had a 6-pack challenge that Vicky had her be on because she faced off against 5 other women. And she had Tamina as her so-called bodyguard. And the minute you heard Paige's music from NXT, pretty much that ends the story. And just seeing them two go at it, it was just nice to see Saraya, or as we call her, Paige in WWE. It was definitely a pivotal moment because everybody was on their feet. Even the backstage reaction after she won, she broke down in tears when she found out that she won the belt. And it was just really amazing to watch. And then when it was like the whole feud, because you had Total Divas happening and with the Bellas, and then they were feuding with AJ and Paige at WrestleMania in Santa Clara. And that was the last WrestleMania match AJ was in before she retired, right before she made her unexpected comeback. But I think, and we'll put this in multiple times, like you can't really forget about not just AJ, but also Paige and Emma and some of the ladies that were in the early parts of NXT that really changed the women's revolution. And she really did she really did a statement in history. And that's something that we do have to think about, that she did pave the way for a lot of women that are wrestling today.
Oh, it's so true. You took me back with Emma. And this whole moment, it's like little things, little nuggets you forget about, but you see the image. And the crazy thing is, I vaguely remember the match, but I do remember the reaction when the music hit. And I remember when she won and the emotion behind it. That's the type of stuff that why we watch wrestling, why we love wrestling. And I agree. I see Paige coming back at some point. Would be nice if it would be WrestleMania because they definitely need some help, but that's another story.
I mean, kind of piggybacking on women and women's wrestlers who made an impact. Megan Bayne and Leah Cross say that they bonded over some of their inspirations being China and Beth Phoenix, which is, I think that's for like a lot of people. More AEW news. So, Courtney, what do you kind of think of that? And do you see it translate into the ring?
Yeah, so they were in with Renee, who's a friend of WWT. They were on her series earlier today, and I thought it was definitely a good interview to talk to them about, and especially since they bonded over the influences of Beth Phoenix and China, because that's how it got them into wrestling. And it also talked about how they met too, and how they can be supportive of each other, along with the fact with Penelope Ford being injured, but she's still supporting on the sideline. Lena Cross, she has made her name for herself in the independent scene, but I am starting to get familiar with Megan Bayne because I have seen her be in the independent scene in the East Coast. So she has been making her mark and also winning the tag team titles. I think they are going to be a dominant force to be reckoned with within the women's tag team championship. I know the Babes of Wrath are taking a break, but it's going to be very interesting on who's going to be the next serious challengers to step up to the plate in the next couple months. But they're going to be a dominant faction. And also naming China, by the way, that is very awesome to see because we've been talking about China here on Women's Wrestling Talk, and we're very happy to see that China is still being talked about even after an unfortunate passing, which her anniversary is actually next week. Next week is the anniversary of her passing. So I'm really happy people are still remembering the legacy of China.
There was definitely a legacy there, and definitely rooting for her individual induction into the Hall of Fame, which I do believe will happen at some point.
You think?
Oh yeah, at some point. But it's like there are other ladies, Sable. I fully believe Sable should be inducted. I believe Deborah should be inducted. Jazz should be inducted. There are a whole host of ladies that should be inducted, and part of it's political. We know this, but at the end of the day, I think if the outcry is loud enough, they'll do what's right. Elizabeth another one, most definitely, First Lady, forever First Lady. Even to a degree,
Mhm.
Missy Hyatt. You know, even though she
Mhm.
was there briefly, it wasn't televised, but she did a brief stint with them. Totally believe she should have been there with everything she's done within pro wrestling. But you know, as far as our AEW tag team champions, oh, they remind me so much of Lash and was
Not
no,
not
yeah,
Naya.
yeah, they
Mhm.
remind me of them, and I see them going strong, and I'm so happy for them. And you know, when they won, as much as I love and support the Babes of Wrath, when I saw the two together, I said, "Nah, y'all," you know, I was not surprised when they won.
Mhm.
Totally happy for them.
Yeah, they're gonna be a force in that tag team division.
Yeah. And you know, like as you were saying, Hope, there are a lot of people that should be recognized in the Hall of Fame. And this is why the Women's Wrestling Archive is around, so we can recognize all those women, not just the ones that WWE puts in the Hall of Fame, not just the big names, but every single female wrestler that has been in the game that's paved the path for the wrestlers that we see today. So definitely check it out and definitely support.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might think he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today. And thank you guys for... There we go. Thank you guys so much for donating so far. We are definitely launching very, very soon. There's just some approvals I have to do amongst everything, all the other things is coming. I'm really excited. I'm really stoked about it. And, you know, we're going to be launching it with a poll that's going to be on both websites. So you definitely have to check that out. Now let's get into Mr. Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Nick Khan's texts showing
Dun
friction
dun dun.
between Vince McMahon and Levesque over WWE Creative in 2023. There was some hint at this during the Mr. McMahon doc, and I don't know if you guys talked about it on Monday or did it launch yesterday. Hulk Hogan's doc is coming out in April. But if you look at the Mr. McMahon doc and what transpired in the initial time that the first time Vince was forced to leave, apparently he alluded to somebody in his camp, which people were pointing their fingers at Stephanie, that left. And then he came back. If you remember that, and his goal coming back was selling the company. He was able to do that. And then more scandal came and then he left. But if you remember that moment where Stephanie was in the ring, I guess post-retirement in air quotes, and she said, "I love you, Dad." There's so many things that are happening that I don't think we'll ever know. Like, I really definitely suggested that the McMahons need to do like another show where it's McMahons do therapy, because there's so many layers. There's just like, let's unpack this. Like, why are you getting choked up that your dad hugged you like after you did something, like, you know, and you guys are both grown. Like, what's happening here? So yeah, let's get into it, because there was that April Fool's like a couple of weeks ago where they said after WrestleMania, Steph and Triple H were stepping down.
Yeah, that was like an April Fool's joke. Yeah, it was April Fool's joke.
Definitely got me. I was like, ooh, more drama. But yeah, let's get into these text messages, and then also why, on the flip side, why are we hearing about this right now?
Right before WrestleMania, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to go first? Because my first question is, how did the text messages even get out?
Part.
That's the part that everybody should be worried about. How did it get leaked out to the public? And also, I think Hope froze. Did you freeze?
I think we all, I don't know, but I'm back now. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot to unpack here because the timing, without question, I mean, let's keep it real. We love wrestling. We love the WWE. We're excited about WrestleMania, but WrestleMania has not sold out. It's a week away and neither night has sold out. That's not good.
No.
But do
Very
you think
sad.
this has to do with creative? Oh,
I
yeah, you froze again.
absolutely, absolutely. Part of it creative, and then as much as I love Paul Levesque and Triple H, Paul Levesque, Triple H, and everything that he's done, he's the head of creative, and at the end of the day, it falls on him. When you look at everything that's happened. At the end of the day, the writer's room, everything behind the scenes, it falls under his umbrella. You've got Cody doing a shoot promo. You got Pat McAfee doing a shoot promo. You got CM Punk doing promos. You've got Roman a few weeks ago doing a shoot promo and others doing shoot promos. And all of them, if you really pay attention, is directed toward creative. Who's in charge of creative? Triple H, son-in-law of Vince McMahon, husband to Stephanie McMahon. Some of the boys, I would dare even say a lot of the boys, or perhaps the old school boys, may still feel some kind of way about how Triple H may have treated people back in the day when he was DX, one of the boys, what have you.
Right.
Whereas the NXT generation, if you will, love him, calls him Papa H. So I have no doubt that there's a mixture going on there. And for things to come out, I mean, I'm not wishing it, I'm not hoping it, because my goodness, what he has on his shoulders, being in that position, it's a lot. You know, everyone can't be Vince. Vince, anyone who know, even though I never met him personally, never knew him personally, but based on what I've read, based on what I've seen, Vince was 24/7. He legit ate, breathed, slept pro wrestling. First one there, last one to leave. Expected others to do the same thing. If you were a writer, if you were in creative, it was nothing to pull an additional 8 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, before the shows, before the PLEs and what have you. And with all that being said, there could be a conspiracy to get Triple H out of his role, because if they don't have, if WrestleMania is not a success, what happens? I mean, the finger pointing is going to start. Someone's going to take the hit. Somebody's going to take the. Who is it going to be? It may not necessarily be Triple H, but somebody.
Here's the thing, you know, for the people who there was an era where WWE or WWF was doing really well, right? And then there was an era where it wasn't. The fact that we as a collective, including the wrestlers, expect this brand to be on point every week, every year, and the stories are going to be great, and the creative is going to be great, is impossible. And the reason I say it's impossible, just look at, for instance, you take your own social media and say you're a micro influencer, and meaning that you're not one of those people who get money, but you just want to be great on your personal social media for you and your friends. To think of something every single day for yourself, you know your brand, you know you. To think of something to do every single day for yourself is impossible. And then also for your friends to be like, oh, that was amazing, is impossible. It's literally impossible. And the task that wrestling and WWE has given themselves to do that and entertain us every single, and now you add social media, it's like you can't, you're not going to satisfy the beast. And I think when people realize that, You can try. I don't think Triple H or the writers are like, oh well, I'm just not feeling it today. It's just like when you come back from vacation, if you're a creative, you've given your mind some time to rest. It's like now you can be creative. But if you are continuing going, you're always thinking about the business. There's no room to actually breathe and to do something out of the box. I mean, there was something again in the McMahon documentary where he wanted to impregnate Stephanie. Like that was a terrible idea. It never made it. But like for you to even think that, like that probably wasn't his best day. So it's just kind of like you just need that moment. And it's almost one of those things where, should WWE test the waters where it's like, okay, hey, maybe we take extended. I know they take the holidays off. I think it's like maybe 2 weeks, 2 weeks off
like
in the holiday. Maybe there should be where you do seasons where you're not doing as much so we can see how the creative is, because even in the Vince era, there was a great Vince, and then there's a time we didn't love Vince. When Vince was gone, the creative for WWE and NXT was amazing. Everybody was like saying amazing things about Triple H. He was doing a great job. Everybody loved everything that was going on. All these wonderful ideas. Yes, because he was able to control it himself. All the ideas that he might have had, he had to, now he had the free reign to do it. But now we're how many years in? Of course, it's not going to be amazing every single time. If you like it, it's just life. It's human nature. You could be with the one you love for 25 years. It's going to be a moment that you don't like that person.
This is true.
Like,
here's the difference. Here's the difference, though, because I hear everything you're saying and I agree with everything you're saying. But the difference is that this is no longer the McMahon's WWE. This is TKO's WWE, and TKO is about the MONEY. So,
right. But even with that, every company doesn't do well all the time. Look at Apple.
We know this, but
yeah, Apple's bringing out ideas that Samsung brought out 3 years ago. Been making a big deal. Oh my God, Apple has this great product. They now can do this. And it's like Samsung has been doing that for 3 years. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. It's just in business in general, regardless if something goes wrong, what department is almost always blamed? Marketing, communications, and sales. It never fails.
Yep.
Like with wrestling, if there's something going wrong, who's going to get blamed? Creative, writing, head of creative. Not saying it's right or wrong. That's just the way that it goes. And Lord knows, I've been looking. I remember Triple H when he was terrorizing. Literally, I'm rooting for him. I don't want anything to happen to him. Oh my goodness. The entrances he and Stephanie made are some of my. I actually look forward to the entrances versus the actual matches in some cases.
Right.
But I don't even want to think about wrestling without Triple H or Stephanie. I mean, one of the reasons I'm excited about the Hall of Fame is that she's being inducted. And I'm definitely excited and curious to see who's going to be the one to induct her. How nice would it be if it were Shane or perhaps Vince himself? Stranger things about. I mean, that would be a pop to bring people to the show. Because I'm rooting, but they either have to sell it out or come close to it. Because can you imagine WrestleMania with those black tarps? Are we kidding? WrestleMania?
But here's the thing, and I don't know, you guys get whose music, because I don't know where it is. But here's the other thing too. Here's the bigger question. TKO, because this has nothing to do with creative. TKO and Endeavor raised the prices for tickets to the point where it's essentially somebody's mortgage payment, car payment, rent, all that stuff, right? That has nothing. You could really want to go to WrestleMania, but you can't afford to go. Like you add the plane ticket, you add the staying there, you add all that stuff. And it's just like, that has nothing to do with creative. That has nothing to do with Triple H or the writers. The show could be amazing, off the chain, and now you're asked to pay $5,000 for a ticket. Like, who's doing that? So that they like, for them to blame creative hypothetically, if they are, it's more has to do with you. If you look at marketing systems and plans, and I know you can speak to this more, Courtney, it goes in cycles. You rev up because you're building for a certain show. You have that happen, you let a little cool off, and then you develop something new again. The only difference is that there's no down periods allegedly in WWE, but there is naturally, because that's just the way we are. Like we can't even handle, if we were to get everything we wanted in wrestling, we wouldn't be able to handle it. We'll still find it boring. If you were to take every idea WWT has put, we will then say, well, I mean, I guess you did what I said. It's great, but what else? Like we're never going to be satisfied. So I think TKO needs to really strike that balance of actually giving people a price that they can actually afford to come, and obviously not pricing everybody out, but making it like, I mean, obviously the tickets are $25, everybody and their mama would come. So find a reasonable price that people can actually go and enjoy the show and do all the things that you want them to do, and not do this craziness, which we'll get into. And no shade to Pat McAfee, but it's like, what is going on? But with that being said, WrestleMania is afoot, and I am so happy that this gentleman is coming. I suppose we'll see. We'll do some shenanigans and story. I don't know. Somebody play his music.
Say his name and he appears. I believe it.
Said.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, the mayor has arrived on a CEO Wednesday. And the mayor saw the title of the episode said Lola Vice for the win. So you can't talk Lola Vice without the mayor of Vice City. Bump everything we talking about today because we didn't get my congratulatory post on the Instagrams and the socials. I'm still upset about that, and I am taking action against these crimes. Lola Vice is your NXT Women's World Champion, and she is represented by yours truly.
Is that it?
Where's my applause? Where's the applause? Where's the applause? Where's the celebration? Where are my strippers, TK? Lola wanted strippers for this episode. She wanted liquor everywhere, strippers, poles. She wanted all the ribbons. We don't got where's the stuff at? That's why I'm late, because I'm doing damage control behind the scenes, trying to figure out why are these things we requested not here for the celebration.
You also requested postcards and stickers, and in addition to the website, I've been working on that all morning too. So I mean,
shirts. You guys were all supposed to get mailed these shirts to wear them on this episode, and I don't know how we dropped the ball here, but we repping Vice, and that's it. Nothing else.
Do you want to give the people, since we haven't had an NXT show in a minute, what happened that we are congratulating Lola for?
Oh, that was I'm going to tell the other elected official that you gave subtle shade here. Is
it subtle shade or is it back?
That was unnecessary, in this economy especially. But if you didn't watch NXT, I don't know what happened in the first hour and 45 minutes, and I don't care. We ended the show with a women's champion who knocked out JC Jane on Saturday. By the way, there was a 3-hour and change watch along that you can reference. TK got the bill for that, so don't ask me for no more. We gave you that on Saturday in good faith. Lola closed the show, and now we have a new title match, and NXT Revenge is what we're calling it next week. I imagine we're going to see Lola rematch JC Jane for the title. Tony D'Angelo is going to take on Ethan Page, I believe, over the course of the next 2 weeks. Mr. Recur, Miles Bourne, is going to be taking on bald-headed Dion Lennox, I believe, at some point next week. I think that's going to happen for the North American. And I don't know what we're doing with – I missed this part with the Vanity Project with Blake, but we're doing something where Blake has her own Women's North American title that she's carrying around to spite Tatum Paxley, who's the actual Women's North American champion. And the one thing I will say outside of my client looking very stunning, I might add, great representation for the brand. The only other thing that interested me other than that in the main event portion of the show is that Zarya got her lick back. Zarya should have won on Saturday. and it should be on site every single time. Hickenbottom, that's the only place you fucked up. You know, I'll be honest. Like you ran an A+ show on Saturday, but having Soul win, I'm kind of confused. Don't know why she won. It's time for Zarya to be getting her star ascension, and hopefully in NXT Revenge she will get her lick back. I don't think there's anything left for Soul to do on NXT brand. She was the original 2 belts holder for this iteration of women's division. So I think she has to do the job eventually. But that was kind of your long-winded NXT recap that I don't care about because we're just talking about Lola. You got 10 more minutes in the mirror, and we're going to use all that time for Lola.
Okay, well, another thing we are going to discuss, before you just decided to pop in, is the faction of Pat McAfee starting into Cody Rhodes and the Randy Orton WWE
Does Pat have a title?
WrestleMania feud.
Is Pat a champion? Why are we talking about Pat? Lola's a champion. We got to talk about champions on this show. But I'm guessing that was your way of asking me my opinion, which I've already said it's dog shit.
Yes.
In many facets. I'm glad we didn't get that.
Did you do a Raw post show?
No. If you would have watched the watch along, I told you guys Saturday, you get what you get. Saturday was a long day. There was no post show yesterday, and I apologize for that. It's just the mayor was tired.
Being in the streets.
But no, I don't know. You can speculate if it's TKO, the tug of war. I think that's more damage control playing out on screen. I think I don't think, and TK, we talked about it earlier today, that could be like an ESPN play. I don't think it's that. I think this is just what you get with the Codyverse. What string what string could you pull to make us boo Randy Orton? Pat McAfee. We got tired of seeing every single week, making everything about himself. Almost drowning hole on commentary. Fans got tired of it. We got tired of it.
Really?
Pat McAfee's saying like,
is that why you think he left?
Yeah, because social media don't lie. Now that we can see dislikes on YouTube, you got to take that as Bible. Like when Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, like those things scream loud when you're giving us a product that fans ultimately don't like. I feel like this was more a move to make us boo Randy Orton because he's aligned with Pat McAfee. People were cheering Randy Orton when he left Cody bloodied. That's not the goal. Cody's the golden boy. We want the golden boy to beat the villain. We don't think of Randy like a villain. We want him to break Triple H's record because Triple H don't need all them title reigns anyway. Like, that was never going to be possible with keeping the storyline like so. So entering Pat McAfee, who I think within the past 6 months said his schedule wouldn't align with WWE, and doing it out of nowhere, and him saying like, if Randy Orton loses, I won't be back with wrestling anymore. Hey, win-win for fans. Get the fuck out. Now we have a reason to cheer Cody Rhodes. Every Cody storyline ends up like this because people are exhausted with Cody Rhodes not being interesting outside of the title picture.
Hope, what do you think?
I have to admit, I was surprised that the voice was Pat McAfee, but who's to say that that's not the only voice? Maybe that was voice number one. It is voices in my head, and I could think of a number of other voices that could and probably should make an appearance at WrestleMania to help things along. It's interesting what the mayor said earlier about, booing Randy Orton. I mean, Randy Orton, he's the one we love to hate. We're not going to boo him. It's just not happening. I would love to see number 15, but I have a feeling that there's going to be some sort of a swerve where Cody, retains. And I don't know if this will be via Stephanie, via Triple H, via Flair, via even a Seth Rollins, whole host of people, a whole lot of voices in the head, a whole lot of people who has it in for Cody. So it'll be, and even The Rock himself You know, it could be any number of those people. And again, with McAfee,
Man, it's not gonna be The Rock. We need
I
to
doubt
stop.
it either. We haven't heard from The Rock in over a year. At least that's
Man, look,
right.
he's
But you know, as far as McAfee being the one, I was thrown, but he has a following. Love him or hate him, he does have a following. And you know, at the end of the day, was it about the person or was it about the message? The mayor alluded to damage control. I do believe there's some truth to that. I mean, this is messy. This is absolutely messy going into a week ahead of WrestleMania and neither night being sold out. They're just putting all of the matches together. And it's still time. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for a successful event. I really am, but they gotta hurry up.
matches.
I think the biggest.
Give me your opinion.
I was gonna
Courtney,
say the
give me
only
your
thing we can
opinion.
hope out for is John Cena like AA and Pat McAfee in the main event and saving Cody. That's the only thing we can hope for. I don't think they're smart enough to get The Rock involved or pay the ticket because they're trying to save their money for Saudi next year. And I think that power struggle.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. He gonna take that payday. He gonna take that turkey money. That's a lot of money.
But they're going Saudi. That's the other thing.
Who?
We don't even know if Saudi's actually happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be monumental.
That's a whole conversation. Separate.
That's 3 shows.
I'd be surprised if this wasn't just straight up the plan that we see announced.
So we have on night 1, Cody versus Randy with Pat McAfee. The Women's World Championship, Stephanie McCurr versus Liv Morgan. Seth versus Gunther. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee versus Becky. The Women's Tag Team Championship 4-way, Fatal 4-way, Nia and Lash versus Bailey and Lyra versus Charlotte and Alexa versus the Bella Twins. LA Knight and the Usos versus Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Show Speed. And sanctioned Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. So that's night 1. Night 2, we have CM Punk versus Roman. Then we have the women's WWE Women's Championship, Jade versus Rhea. Intercontinental Championship ladder match, Penta versus Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus JD McDonough, and Rey Mysterio. Then Brock Lesnar versus Oba, which I think is going to be the highlight of the night. United States Championship, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, another highlight maybe. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. I mean, they have a card. A lot of this card could just be on Netflix, which it is kind of. But,
and also, if you notice, for the first 2 matches of both nights, they already announced it for ESPN2.
Look here, y'all. I'm gonna put it up in. I'll go and get yourself this VPN because times are tough. Go and pay. I think you get 75% off. Go and get yourself this NordVPN. Put the country to Canada, the UK, somewhere where you get Netflix, because you can watch SmackDown and all WWE products on Netflix from a different country. Go and get yourself that and live your best life. I understand why they're separating things and they have different stuff on different platforms. But that's not the world we're in. The gas out here is $7. The eggs are $8. Food is tight. Like, y'all, I get it. Everybody needs to make money. But if you want to enjoy this product, go and get yourself NordVPN and use the code WWT and live your best life, because you can watch it without going through the rigmarole of ESPN. I'm just saying. I'm helping you out.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other words said?
I do have to go here because I do have to run a meeting here in about 4 minutes. So it's been a pleasure joining you guys in this lovely CEO Wednesday. TK, I was just noticing your shirt representing a lot of historic women in wrestling, and I feel like you should get Lola added to that shirt. I feel like that's a maple leaf.
She's not
and no, she's
Canadian.
not from
Canadian.
let me finish my statement, please. I was getting there. I see the maple leaf. It's not Canada.
That's about to pound the streets.
This is so unnecessary. She's not Canadian, but she's worldwide, so she should be on that shirt. I'm just saying. We can do it in post and edit it out for this stream, but yeah, she should be on that shirt.
Goodbye, Sid. I'll see
When
you.
I come back on
I'll see
Friday,
you
I
at
expect
Mania.
the liquor, the strippers for Lola, the big
Oh my
celebration.
gosh.
We can 2-day air these shirts so you guys all have them on Friday. We can be in one accord, but that's really all I showed up for. I'm not going to tag myself out. I don't want to be found. You'll see me when you see me. Do not approach me in
We'll
public.
see you at
as well.
Mania.
Yeah, don't approach me in public.
Don't believe that. Don't believe that.
Hug when I see you in public.
Don't believe that.
I don't want to be found. Happy CEO Wednesday, everybody.
Oh,
Never
goodness.
dull when you
never dull.
Never,
so
never dull.
we went through night 1 and night 2, or day 1, day 2 for WrestleMania. I think we can kind of end on this note. I mean, we still have Friday, and then we're in the midst of it all. So what are your thoughts? I mean, as far as PR wise, hypothetically, if TKO is not happy with creative, and they're not seeing that they might be the problem with these ticket prices, if that's all the case, what can WWE, TKO, and Endeavor do to salvage this Mania?
They need an internal planning meeting behind closed doors, because I don't know who's what, because sometimes it's with power, pride, and ego that gets in the way, because we know with TKO they're trying to get WWE as their other counterpart, UFC, which we know that's not going to happen, because you just can't have them model it. And also with the fact too, as you mentioned, ticket prices. That's also another thing too, because we see the outrageous ticket prices when it comes to shows. We've seen it with the VIPs, with Cody doing the bus tour with Liv Morgan. That costs like an arm and a leg. But I think this is something they're going to have to think about, especially WrestleMania with around the corner, because I don't know what happens behind closed doors. Would not be shocked if it's a power trip between Triple H and The Rock, because that's been boiling out since God knows how long, since TKO and WWE been in this partnership. But I do think there is some strategies that they really kind of need to fix. And I know, and there's another area you didn't touch. It's like the celebrity part of it, because we're used to having celebrities at WrestleMania that actually do make sense. We've seen a lot of wacky stuff with celebrities in the past WrestleManias. And if you notice, a lot of people are saying overly celebrities, because of course we saw Little Yachty last week. iShow Speed's going to be in a match, Jelly Roll, who other superstars happening, but it's very interesting a way. And I know we didn't touch on this on Monday, because apparently Little Yachty got called out by people on socials. But the thing is, at least he's a wrestling fan. Like, at least he didn't like join wrestling because it was popular, because we know at times when wrestling was always hot, we always see some celebrities who have no idea what the product. So at least he has some understanding with the product. Jelly Roll has understanding because he's been a fan for so long. It's just iShow Speed that's kind of a little bit, because I get that's Logan Paul's boy. I get it. He's a YouTuber. I mean, I'm not gonna ding him because of his success, but it's like make it make sense. But I think this is gonna be something internally they're gonna have to figure out, not leading up to Mania, but also after WrestleMania, because the next big PLE after WrestleMania is SummerSlam. And that's going to be something, because we know SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights in Minneapolis. So I do think they're going to have a long, hard internal meeting with everybody, from creative to PR to marketing to finance, everyone, because they know it. They just don't want to admit that they're wrong and take accountability and responsibility.
That part right
Well,
there. The
tickets have come down too. I just checked them. So you're looking at about 1,500 for tickets, and that's on the floor. So that's a lot different than what they said the tickets were supposed to be back in September. So that's kind of telling what's happening. So who knows what's gonna happen? We're less than
And
a week
like,
away.
and like I
But
said,
what were you saying?
and like
Hope?
it's
Mhm.
oh, sorry,
No,
that
it's
was me.
okay.
I was gonna say, like I said, we already know who's gonna kick off WrestleMania. They already announced who's gonna be on ESPN2. Oba and Lesnar are
Mhm.
gonna do night 2. Jacob and Drew is gonna do night 1. I forgot what the other match is gonna be, but
Mhm.
they just want people to buy the ESPN app, which people don't have money for.
That's the other piece. It's at this point, it's not too late, but they have to make the right moves and make them quickly. Like, for example,
Mhm.
everyone's looking at, Brock versus Oba. Can you imagine the pop if they announced on Raw or even on SmackDown that they get a special guest referee, say maybe Kurt Angle,
Oh my
knowing the
gosh.
history? Could
Mhm.
you imagine that?
Mhm.
That would bring people to ESPN and to the show. And let's not forget, Stone Cold Steve Austin is in Vegas that weekend working on other things.
Mhm.
How nice would it be if they brought him to the show? That too would bring people in. You have to have the right star power at this point. Kurt, Steve, I would dare, even though I know it's a long shot with The Rock, and heaven for Vince McMahon, can you imagine if his music actually hit? I would actually fall in the floor, literally. But
Mhm.
I would say,
I think
okay,
everybody would.
Yeah, I think everybody,
literally at that point.
everyone.
And I get the feelings, I get the emotions either way, but that's the kind of star power that they need at this point if they want to sell out or get close to it and or get eyes on ESPN, not just that first
Mm.
hour, but to invest in that app. I'm wishing them well. I'm rooting for them. I'll be watching both
Yep.
nights, and I'll work it out with my supervisor because I want to do things with
Mhm.
WWT for that because it's
Mhm.
WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania,
Mhm.
man. Yeah.
Well, there it is. So definitely gonna give Courtney some time to do some A in a few or an hour or so. But with
Mhm.
that being said, Hope, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on all the social channels, Miss Hope 0316.
And Courtney?
Well, they can find me top of the hour for Timeless Elite Wednesday. Said he thinks he can be CEO Wednesday, but when it's Wednesdays, it's Timeless Elite Wednesday because we're on the final stop with AEW Dynasty tonight from Edmonton, Alberta. Obviously, of course, there's going to be a lot happening. There will be a watch along for AEW Dynasty this weekend from yours truly. So you want to pull up because we're taking a trip to Canada this weekend. So be ready for everything that's going to happen with AEW Dynasty this weekend and AEW Dynamite. You can also follow me on my and by the way, too, during my watch along, and we didn't get to talk about this at WWT Live, I will give my thoughts on Tony Khan's podcast appearance on the coach and Vince Russo because there was a lot of deep diving, and I watched that whole episode. So
It
you'll
was
be listening to
awesome.
that. Yes, you will be listening to that during Timeless Elite Wednesday because I have a few thoughts, and it's not on Tony. There's a lot of things that I kind of need to cover, but that's during AEW Dynamite. You can follow me on my socials and at Courtney and J11 because I do have a lot of stuff happening in the couple weeks. If you May 16th, please follow ISPW. They're doing a lot of events in the spring and the summer. May 16th, Saturday, May 16th, they will be doing 80s Wrestling Con. Myself and Honey will be in the building for that, where we could go back to the 80s. You'll see Ted DiBiase, Coco Beware, Wendy Richter, many others that will be there, and it's going to be fun. So take a trip back in time to the 80s. And yeah, I got a lot of things happening, but that's where
We
you can
need
find me and follow me.
we need
All right.
TK to talk with TK, literally.
Hilarious.
That'd be hilarious.
Well, that would be hilarious. I'm the original one. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the Women's Wrestling Archive. Definitely we need your support to do bigger and better things. Also check out Women's Wrestling Talk. We just dropped an interview with Miami Sweet Heat from WoW. We also have 2 more interviews dropping, and we're actually going to be doing another interview with somebody who's going to be signing with promotion very shortly. So a lot of things happening. a lot of things moving, so definitely check out the website for that. You can follow me everywhere. I've been traveling a lot. I was actually random stories, like I got a dog, she's 4, and I knew I was gonna be traveling this much, and not to say I wouldn't have gotten her, but like would have made different choices. But here I am, I'm traveling a lot. You can follow me everywhere at TK Trinidad. With that being said, thank you guys.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.